Hey, how's it going? I'm going to show you how I remove grout from a tile floor. Here's the tools you're going to need. You're going to need one of these. Ideally, this is an oscillating multi-tool, and then you have to buy the grout removal. It's a diamond flecked blade. They run from like 15 to 40 bucks. The more expensive ones tend to last longer, so if you're doing a big job, I might just get it. You can get these at Harbor Freight for cheap, but these are great tools to have, so I would suggest adding it to your collection. You're going to need one of these from any hardware store. For my width of grout lines, I doubled up the blades, which you can do. You're going to need one of these. Doesn't look like it does much, but it actually comes in really handy. And again, get them in Home Depot or whatever. And then I always have an old screwdriver that I've worn down, and this is just to get into some tricky spots that you can't get into with these. You might only use it a couple times. You also just use a regular screwdriver, but be careful not to chip the tile. You're also going to need a vacuum and some kind of knee protection, ideally. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to say is when you remove grout, you don't need to remove all of the grout. You need to remove 1/8 of an inch or more in order for the new grout to both not show the old grout through it, particularly if the new grout is lighter in color, but also so that the new grout can bond. So for example, if you just rub some grout out and put new grout on top, that new grout, if it's not at least about 1/8 of an inch or thicker, will eventually just wear off. It doesn't have enough mass to actually create its own bond. So that being said, you do not need to take it out all the way down. Now, I see, like here, I've taken it out all the way down pretty much to the thin set. You don't have to do that, but you can. So just know that as you're going. All right, so I'm going to show you the way that I do this. I'm going to hold that, and then when I go on the blade, so you're going to come around on the side. So, for example, right here, I'm going to take this grout out. I'm going to use this tool, which is a 1/8 inch wide tip. By the way, if you have really small grout lines, you can get a 16th inch. And I'm going to go ahead and get it going. I'm going to lay it, I'm going to cut a straight groove. So I'm just, notice the way I oriented this, instead of that way, oriented that way I can just lay it down and let the tool do the work. So I'm just going to cut a groove here. Okay, so then my second pass, I'm going to twist the blade just a little. And when I say twist, I don't mean torque it. You don't want to, you're going to chip the tile if you do that. Just a gentle twist as I'm going. And notice I'm not running really high RPMs. I'm running it here. I'm not running it there. So, what I would do if I was doing actually doing is I'd run this whole line here. I just zzz all the way down. That's the first step. By the way, the most dangerous part in terms of chipping your tile is when you get to these corners. The corners will just flick off if you hit this wrong. So the first couple of times, just take it slow and you'll get the feel of it. As far as when you're in the middle here, as long as you don't twist hard, you're not going to chip the tile. But just know that this takes out maybe 70% of the grout, maybe 80%. You don't have to take every bit out with this. So again, I'd make that pass, then I'm going to vacuum it up, and it is worth doing this step. So the reason it's worth doing that step is because then when you go to your next tool, you can see, so come on in here. So see right here, this is an example of what didn't get taken out by the oscillating tool. And then right here, there's another little part. I don't know if you could see it. So there's one there and one over here. And that's okay. That's what this tool's for. So I can go in and do the same part I just did. and I'm good. Now, this tool also, you may find, works well as well. This cuts kind of a V channel in, and you do the same thing. Go like this until you get, and you can see it cuts a nice V channel. This tool is the most dangerous tool in terms of chipping these corners, in my experience. You can sometimes catch a corner and rip it off, so you want to be careful. The grout I'm putting in here is going to be a little lighter than this grout, so I'm being a little extra careful about getting more of the grout out. If you're putting the same color grout or a darker grout, you're probably going to be okay in that aspect. So I'm gonna, now that I've done that bit, I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum it again. All right, and then, so again, if I was to do this for real, I would do the whole line, vacuum. I'd use this, do the whole line, vacuum. Come back with this, hit the whole line, or this, depending on which tool's working better for you. Vacuum again, and then the last thing is you just go through and you inspect. And what I like to do is I just run my finger along. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I just run my finger along here and take my time making sure that I got everything. Here's why. If you have, bring it over here. Let's say you have something where you have a bit, I'm actually just going to show you here. All right, so say that you miss a spot. You know, you come back through with this tool and you get most of it, but there's a little bit coming up and you miss it and you go to re-grout. What's going to happen here is you're going to see the discoloration in your new grout in that spot, and it's just going to look crappy. So you want to make sure and just do a quick inspection. So I do it on every pass. I do a line, I vacuum, and then I go through and I take my finger and I just quickly run it along, and that helps my eye, train my eye to not miss something. So you want to be thinking about how you're going to be grouting as you're taking this out. I think that's about it. It's pretty straightforward. I know that seemed like it took a while. Thanks, E. I know it seemed like it took a while, but in truth, this line here, if I were to first use the oscillating tool, go back with this tool, vacuuming in between, and then a quick inspection, this line here probably take me 3 minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes, right? So it actually goes pretty fast once you get going. Just a couple other little things. If you want to hear more details about this tool, you can always take this piece off and reorient it for certain spots. The other thing is, you don't want to run the RPMs too high. It'll blow dust into the room. So if you run it really high, I mean, you can get away with it if you get good. The problem is the dust will go up into the room. That's why I've got this fan here sucking the air out, because that was a problem. On that note, make sure your vacuum has, I would suggest putting a bag for this job, not just using the filter that comes with the shop vac. I would put a bag in there to capture the smaller stuff, because this will create dust. My filter wasn't trapping all of the grout dust. It was trapping most of it, but some of it was getting in the air. So that's something else to consider. And the last thing is when you're using tools like this, just let the tool do the work. Don't try to avoid gripping the tool hard as you're going. I think the nice thing about this rounded grout removal tool is it's not going to chip the edges of your tile very easily. And if you just kind of let the tool bounce around in there, you'll figure out how to mostly get all of the grout out with just this tool. And then this is just a quick cleanup. Initially, when you first start using it, find a piece of tile or a part maybe under a couch or something to test it, and just kind of start. I'm trying to show you here. Start like that, and just nice and easy. And you'll sort of figure out it goes right in. Once it's in, you can start going back and forth a little bit, and you can start twisting just a little bit, being very mindful of these corners right here. So it's just a nice and easy, and then as you get more comfortable, you can move faster and all that. All right, well, that's pretty much it. Good luck to you.